Bonjour classe, comment ça va, Français Anne? We only have a couple more weeks to go. So this week, get your textbooks ready and your workbooks. We are taking a look at Lesson 17, Leçon 17, vocabulary that starts on pages 268. Oh, that's a little backwards. 262 through 268. Look what I did there. All right, let's get our stuff and get started. Okay, this is all about clothing. This is one of the options I gave you guys when we talked about on the survey at the beginning of the new online classes. What were some things you wanted to learn? And clothing is a chapter in our book, and it just happens to be this one next. So lots of ways to describe the things you're wearing and talk about clothes and shopping in this week. I have provided for you on Google Classroom this page of vocabulary along with the slideshow that we're going to look at in a few minutes and the workbook pages. So use all of those to learn these words, practice these words, and describe yourself and what you're wearing. Starting over here, the Français, this is also in your textbook. My goal with this type of vocabulary page, I think we've done another one like this in class before, or maybe even earlier on in our online learning we did a page like this where I give you the French and then you write the English translation, and then what you do, because there are these three columns, notice the third column says Français again, you take your paper and fold back the French side so you can't see the French words, and then quiz yourself and try to write the French words again. This isn't something you necessarily have to turn in to me, although you can if you want me to check over your work, but it's a good way to quiz yourself and practice without having to make a bunch of flashcards. You just have it all on one page, and then you can even flip the page over and do a similar exercise, copying down the words again, translating them to English, translating them back to French. So you really get to learn and memorize these words with all of this practice. So I'm going to go over the pronunciation. You can écouter et répéter to learn how to say these words. Une casquette, une chemise, un blouson, un manteau, un pantalon, une veste, un chapeau, un pull, un jean, that one's pretty easy, des chaussettes, un impair, une cravate, un chemisier, une jupe, une robe, des collants, des chaussures, des bottes, des sandales. Want to take a guess what that one is? Or the next one? Un t-shirt, un short, un sweat, un survêtement, un maillot de bain, une ceinture. So there we have that. Oh wait, but there's more. There's a lot of vocab this time. Des lunettes de soleil. That is the end of the clothing item vocabulary, but now we're getting into some other ways to describe clothes. Also in your textbook, page 268. Génial, chouette, à la mode, moche, démodé, cher, bon marché, chercher, I think we've learned this one before, penser, trouver. Okay, I'm not telling you what all the words mean this time around because I want you to go into your textbook, or if you don't have your textbook available, French Dictionary Online should be able to help you discover what these words mean. Fill in the English translation, study them, and then quiz yourself with the French again. Sound good? I've also provided for you in Google Classroom another thing that you don't have to actually submit, but it is the slideshow that I would have normally used in class. So it looks like this, and it just has a bunch of pictures of people wearing different things. So one thing you might want to do at home is look at the pictures and say what they're wearing. Elle porte, that means she is wearing. It's the verb porter. It means to wear, P-O-R-T-E-R, and that is also in your text. Elle porte une robe. Elle porte des chaussures. Il porte un blazer, un costume, une cravate et une chemise. Elle porte un sweat. Il porte un blouson, un t-shirt, un jean et un chapeau et des lunettes. Vous voyez? So you can go through these and say what different people are wearing. You could even, if you wanted to practice spelling, write them down on the page. That's a good exercise, a good practice. More things to discuss, more things to quiz yourself. So with your vocab handy on one side and these pictures in front of you, you can go through and quiz yourself, even just on the screen. You don't even have to print it out. You could pause the video here and do this, or you can bring it up in Google Classroom. But what are these various things? More vocabulary. Some of the words from that second half of the vocab. Je cherche, I'm looking for. Je pense, I think. Je trouve, I find. For example, je trouve que cette maillot de bain est très mignon. I think that that's a cute bathing suit. Oui, etc., etc. So this is really an independent week where you can do some practice as much or as little as you want, but the goal is to try to learn some of these clothing and accessory words. This is an exercise from the textbook. You're welcome to do it for practice. But the main thing that's going to be your assignment, there goes another one. What are these people wearing? Describe them, talk about it, etc. The main thing that's going to be for you to submit to me this week are the workbook pages. And so here we have, these will be on Google Classroom from lesson 17. Les valises. It says that you are planning for 4 different trips. And so one of them is un weekend à la plage. Do you remember where that is from a previous lesson? At the beach. List 4 clothing items you would bring. Now, I want to be really clear. When you list these clothing items, they should be in French because we're learning the French words. So, even though the word un short, which means a pair of shorts, looks like English, the rest of this is all definitely going to be in French. Would you bring sunglasses, a hat, a bathing suit maybe, sandals? List the things you would bring to the beach, à la plage. A weekend de ski requires some different clothing items because you're going to be hitting the slopes. You got to stay warm. You got to be comfortable. What things would you bring for that? En français. No English on this, you guys. Make it in French. Same thing for number 3, un mariage élégant. Oh, you're going to an elegant wedding. So you're going to wear some different kinds of clothes. And une semaine à Québec. Quebec is the French-speaking part of Canada, as you know. This could be pretty much anything depending on what time of year you want to go. Casual clothing, fun clothing, something where you're going to spend a week. List 4 items en français. So that part's pretty easy. The second part takes you to a clothing store, and this is also something that's in your textbook. Using the vocabulary, notice it says the expressions from page 262 of your student text. So when you look at those expressions, the question, vous, monsieur? And then you say je, You have to fill in the dialogue. What makes sense? Use each picture as a guide. So let's do the first one together so you know what I'm talking about. This is a picture of a tie, a necktie. And so if you go into a store, and if you do look at page 262 and read the dialogue, you'll see what different things someone who works in a store might ask you. What's the first thing they're going to ask? Very similar to when you go to a cafe or a restaurant. Vous désirez, monsieur? What would you like? That's like, how can I help you? Vous désirez, monsieur? And a good response is, je cherche une cravate. I'm looking for a tie. Or, je voudrais une cravate. I would like a tie. So you can have a little bit of leeway, a little bit of flexibility. What words are you going to choose to make these dialogues come together and make sense, right? Here, you're shopping at the store. It's a pair of boots with a price tag. So what might this person be asking? Pardon, mademoiselle, combien? When you're asking about the price, do you remember that phrase? Combien coûtent les bottes? How much do the boots cost? And then to answer it, elles coûtent, or les bottes coûtent, 120 euros. So use the picture as your guide, use your vocabulary, put together some little phrases and some dialogues. A little bit of a challenge here, but if you have the French vocabulary in front of you, I know you can do it. Again, submit all of this to me on Google Classroom. I will give you feedback and you'll know how you're doing in case you have any questions. Class, this is kind of a fun little chapter this week, so I hope you enjoy it. And I'll talk to you again later. Merci, à bientôt et au revoir.